right. Are we live? Yeah, we're live now. We're live now. Sorry, I was having a hard time getting that camera to focus. Try to be in tune here. Hey Sam, what's going on? I don't have much coffee left. Bummer. Oh, I got up early. Got up early, braved the rain, walked to Starbucks. I mean, it's raining, but I can't hear it in here. And it's not really been raining that hard, but just nonstop pretty much. So our side of the street is fine. Across the street, it's like a river over there. And when I was walking to Starbucks, I thought, oh, I'll cut across the street. There was hardly anybody on the road. I cut across the street and promptly got I bought Keens. I got, these Keen boots for when we went to Scotland because I thought it was going to be raining a lot there. Never rained once on us in Scotland, but I had these Keen boots that I bought for the trip and never wore them there. And they're supposed to keep the water out. And they also, I found out today, they actually do a better job of keeping the water in. So I stepped in a puddle. It's funny because as soon as I stepped in this stream on our street, it was deeper than I thought, obviously, and it went all in the boot. But the other thing was it moved me. It was so fast. It actually, my leg went whoop, and I'm like, oh, okay, I better be sure-footed here. So it looks like we got everybody showing up. Sorry, I was a little late. I was having a hard time getting the camera to focus, so I didn't want to go on blurry. Hey, Roger, good to see you, man. Long time no see. Arise and shine, good to see you. Joseph, I see you there. Holly, how much rain? I don't know. Let me see what it says. In the last 24 hours in Granada Hills. I mean, I don't know. 3.5 inches. Not enough to get rid of the drought. They've been talking about the drought the whole time in the local news. It's like, just so you know, the drought's not over. I'm like, we gave the state $7 billion in 2014. Prop 1 people voted for, passed overwhelmingly. And it was supposed to be for reservoirs. Never built one new reservoir or dam or anything. Not one. Didn't even start them. Yeah. They can't be trusted with our money. It's like, actually, where was I? I was at a house in LA, and they had cisterns under every downspout. In Caribbean, they have cisterns under houses. Like, they'll have these giant water things, but I don't know. I think you would get mosquitoes or something. I don't know. Do you have to put chlorine in it? I don't know. But so we're going to continue with talking about the modes. I left all that information over there on the left that we did. Let's see. We're just a couple minutes in, but we got a good turnout already. Let me see what the numbers say. Well, we got 17. Not bad. So I'm going to do a quick recap of everything over here, of what all that means. Okay, so you're not too confused. And then the rubber's gonna meet the road today. I told you I was gonna try to do some diagrams. So I did 7 diagrams for the scale and just 1 octave and all in the same position, all C scales. So that the parallel modes, that's what we're doing there. If you look at the top line, it says relative scales. I don't know why I put all those exclamation marks there, and then mode formulas, parallel modes, and then mode analysis, and I'll explain all of that. Hey, Lena's in the house. Good to see you, Lena. Holly, Bruce, and Bob are all here. Let's see. We're missing one. Are we missing Dennis? Is Dennis here? I got to move this over a little bit like that so I can actually scroll up. Yeah, I mean, it's nighttime where Dennis is, or dinner time, so not always here right away. Okay, so we're about 13, so I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. But yeah, I don't think the rain's. I don't know, Joseph. You're getting all the wash down there in Long Beach, but up here, we're kind of up against a hill, but not our house isn't. So just the street goes uphill, so that's why our street turns into a river. But the stupid thing was like I said, I crossed White Oak and filled my boots with water. So I had to walk to Starbucks sloshing. Literally could, like, probably had this much water in my shoes and it didn't go out. I'm like, well, those Keens are waterproof inside and out. But when I came back, I went ahead and crossed at the intersection, and they've got the storm drains, and so there's no water going through the intersection. That's what the storm drains are for. So I should have gone down to the corner and crossed, but I just didn't do that. But on the way back, that's what I did. So, Holly, you're probably getting drenched as well. The power's out down around me, but not here. It may go out. If it goes out, then we'll be done. 6'9", what's going on? Good to see you. Sadie, awesome. Good to see you. Trying to do all the shout outs. A lot of regulars. Gary Book is in the house. Yeah, I have a life vest. Yeah. No. Our house is we're in a really good situation as far as that's concerned. So it was really windy last night, and I do have a tree in my backyard that I've been kind of climbing the ladder and trimming some of the branches off that are touching the house, trying to take some weight off of it. It's an old what's the trees we get? They're all over California, but they brought them from Australia to use as timber for building houses because California was growing so fast. They needed trees that grew really fast, and of course the wood twists so you can't use it. And they weren't thinking. Shoot, I can't think of the name of the tree. White bark, but we have one of those in our backyard. It's a beautiful tree, messy but beautiful. Probably it's not a sycamore. Can't think of the name of the tree. Oh yeah, Vegas. Yeah. Now, question is the stadium? Well, it's not going to be raining this weekend, but is the stadium? It's an indoor stadium. There would be no way that in Vegas with 120-degree temperatures, you would have an open roof. Although maybe they can open it up if it's a nice day. Like I think the Rams stadium opens up, right? I don't know. I've never been to that one. The parking alone is $80 or something. It's like I'm too cheap. I can afford it, I suppose, but I don't want to afford it. Eucalyptus. Thank you, Ollie. Yes, those eucalyptus trees. They smell great, too. I guess you get high on the leaves. I mean, isn't that what koala bears do? They just eat eucalyptus leaves all day, and they're just high all day long. Am I remembering that right? It's not fir trees. No, it was eucalyptus. They're very interesting trees. And ours looks like it's got some disease, but I had a guy that knows trees look at it, and he said, no, it's just what they do. The shedding and everything, so it's fine. It's a cool tree. Some point it'd probably fall on my garage. Hopefully after I'm dead and gone. But like I said, I've been trimming it a little bit, getting rid of some of it, just to lighten its load. For koala bears, yep, they love it. So, all right. So let me. I don't know if we have very many people on. I'm kind of surprised. I would think, well, it's not raining everywhere, but 21. That's not bad. That's good enough to get going, and we can start on this. It's so funny because we've kind of been doing this slow climb the last couple lessons where it just keeps building and building. I forget what the peak was last week, but it was like almost 40 or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. Okay, so. You can't see when I click on these. See, when I click on these, they get red highlighted. You don't see that, right? Let me just see if it shows up there. I don't think so. No, you don't. Okay, so let me go back here. So the first thing where the relative scales, it's basically it's a real easy lesson to teach on the piano. basically it's just all the white keys. And you go C to C, and that's C major, and then you just move your hand over one key and go D to D, and that's D Dorian. You move your hand over one note, both on both ends, and it goes E to E, and that's E Phrygian. And so that these that's the Do Re Mi. There's the Phrygian or Dorian, and you can start to hear these. Actually, sometimes for me, it's easier to hear to be able to hear a scale better than a chord, as far as like somebody plays a scale and go, oh, that's a Lydian scale, or that's a Mixolydian scale. Somebody plays a first inversion major chord. Sometimes I hear it as a minor chord. So yeah, it's weird. But okay, and then F to F would be F Lydian. And it starts out like a major scale. And that would be what a major scale would sound like, but a Lydian scale, F to F, it's got that raised fourth. Okay, then G to G. I need Lena here to play it. No, I've had this Telecaster forever. Yeah, I've had this thing a long time. I bought this back when they used to have guitar stores in Hollywood. They don't anymore. I mean, they got Guitar Center and they got Sam Ash and that's it. But back in the day, there were so many stores, vintage stores. Like, this is not a vintage, it's a reissue. It's MIJ, made in Japan. But it's a really good one. Alex, it's like, of all my guitars, it's my son's favorite, my oldest. Yeah, exactly. The most hated tree, eucalyptus tree. I don't hate my eucalyptus tree, but it would cost me a fortune to take it out. So I'm just gonna leave it. But it's pretty solid. I think it's gonna stay up. And if it falls, I mean, it might fall on me right now if the wind got strong enough. But we're surrounded by big trees, so I think we've got a good wind block. Okay. Then keeping going, G to G is G Mixolydian, A to A is A Aeolian, but more commonly called minor, A minor. And you could do this on any piano. And then B to B is kind of the theoretical scale, and that's B Locrian. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And they have their uses. In some ways, like I've been saying, they're almost more usable. When I think of like some modes, I think of more in the context of songwriting or writing music for media, whether that's TV, film, or games, or commercials. And so there's a lot of times where, I don't know if you can hear my piano. I got the F chord. And that's a very, like, Hallmark movie little scale. It's beautiful. And then the dominant seventh, like the G7, or the G Mixolydian, it's like a blues. Oops. Sorry, Lena. I know I'm awful, but basically, the Mixolydian just kind of sounds like a blues chord or a jazzy kind of thing. And I've talked about the D Dorian in this key. And again, those are all what we call relative scales. They're all related. They have the exact same notes in them, but they just start and end at different points. And so technically, they're all related to the key of C. So you could say, oh, I've got to play in F Lydian. Oh, I'll just play in C then. You could do that. And we talked about that before. That's often, everyone wants to cheat and translate and think about the relative major scale in any mode that you're playing in. And I'm like, no, that's not the point of it. If you're doing that, you're really not hearing, you're not really experiencing the mode in all its glory. You really do need to learn the modes, and because the modes have their own thing. Like I said, it's like, E Locrian is the same as F major, but it starts on E. Okay, but if you were to think in the key of F, you might not come up with like some cool, the thing I like about Locrian is it's kind of good for like metal stuff, like something like. That's probably too loud, but you get the idea. It's kind of like, whoa, okay, that's cool. That's a weird mode. That's. But if I was just playing F, I'd be going. It's like, no, it's not F. Oh, play F with an E in the bass. Yeah, you could do that, but yeah, again, the whole point of the modes is to kind of learn them and then kind of find their little idiosyncrasies that they reveal, and the whether it's composing things or whether it's soloing ideas that each one individually reveals. So, oh, there's Dennis. Good evening, guten Tag, guten Morgen. So going back to the non-rock sound, let's see here. Okay. So once you do all the white keys, C to C, D to D, E to E, so on and so forth, and create the 7 modes, and the names, again, the Ionian is also called major, is commonly called major, and I could have put major there, but I want you to learn these Greek names for them. And then the Aeolian could also be called minor, so it's most commonly called minor. And then Ionian's called major. And those are the only ones that have alternative references generally. I don't know of any other name for Mixolydian or Lydian or Phrygian or Dorian. Everybody, when they hear Mixolydian or Lydian or Phrygian or Dorian in particular, everybody knows what you're talking about. Okay, so then what we did was we looked at the intervals between each note and created formulas. And the formula is different for every one of the scales. For example, the formula for the major scale, the C Ionian, was whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. But yet when you go to the Dorian and you analyze it, D to E is a whole step, and then E to F is a half step. So the formula there was whole, half, whole, 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 half, whole. If you just look at it, you can just see the H's going diagonally down, down the diagram of W's and H's. So you can see that it creates this, there's a pattern there. I don't know that you necessarily need to memorize the formulas. It wouldn't hurt, but I wouldn't make that a high priority. But again, what I think you do is you pick a mode, maybe the Dorian mode, and just work with it for a while. Maybe work with it for a week. Learn in different keys, memorize the formula, memorize the modal analysis, so that you can easily, from any major scale or any minor scale, make a Dorian scale. And that's a usable skill. That's actually something you would use in a soloing context or a composing context, or just messing around, kind of coming up with ideas. Even harmonically, you can create. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 chords, 1, 4, 5 progressions, all that stuff. Well, we have those also in all of the modes. For example, we have C major, the 1, 4, 5. Well, in D minor, in D Dorian, which is the relative Dorian scale, we have the 4 chord is G and the 5 chord is A minor. And the most common progression, that you might play Dorian over would be kind of in the key of D, for example. D Dorian would be D minor 7 to G7, kind of a 2-5, 2-5 in the key of C, but never actually going to the key of C. It's just kind of a vamp. You can use just just major chords. And that's a very common progression or a common jam. I think of bands like Grateful Dead and Fish and bands like that just do jam sections on songs. A lot of times it's a jam over kind of a Dorian chord progression, which could just be 2 chords. Natural minor is the same as minor. It sounded like the Doom theme. That's hilarious. So that's what the mode formulas were. Then what we did was we used the formulas to create what's called parallel modes. And remember when I originally wrote that third section here, boop, there, okay? See that? Right there. When I wrote the, oh no, my hand is behind it. When I wrote that, I just wrote 7 C major scales. Remember that? I just went C, D, E, F, G, all the way down because I wanted you to realize that these are all parallel. Hey, Catherine, what's going on? Long time no see. And so you can start with that if you're going to create parallel scales in any key. You can take that mode formula if you wanted to. Wouldn't be a bad idea to take those mode formulas and go, okay, I'm going to do all G scales. So start out with a G Ionian, G Dorian, G Phrygian, and use the mode formulas. The first note's always going to be G. So you notice the first note in all those parallel modes is C. Now the second note is almost always D, but if you go all the way down to the Locrian, it's a D flat. Pretty much every one of those notes changes at one point, right? The F changes, the G changes. So yeah, everything changes at one point or another. So you'll either have, most of the time you have a flat, but sometimes you have a sharp. Thanks for the hearts. Let's see. So with the parallel modes, that's actually what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to give you, and I could drag all these over to Discord. In fact, I'll do that right now. So if you go over to, there's a Discord link up there. If you click on that, you can go, let me go to Discord real quick. Nope, not here. I use Safari. Where's Safari? There we go. All right. Excuse me a second while I do this. Okay, so I'm going to our Strahle thing. I'm going to the tab Tom's Lesson PDFs. Okay, I didn't put together a single document, so it's just going to be there we go. Just hit return and see. Yeah, so it's just going to be 7 screen grabs. All right. So you have those if you need them. I'm going to close this so we don't get any noise from it. I'm going to put this back over here, and then I'm going to drag the first one. And then the mode analysis, you'll see that actually here in the diagrams that I wrote. I'm pretty sure I did that. Let me see. Where's the major? Where's Ionian? Here we go. Yep. Boop. All right. So yeah, that's pretty good size. What I'll do is I'll probably move them down below as we go through. So you can see with the major, nothing's changed. Everything's just root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root. There's no altered tones, as it were. They're all just standard do, re, mi. Okay. If you can, I would play it with 4 fingers. I'm a big fan of using all of your fingers. Oh, nice. Jams are great. You know, all you need is one other person to jam. I mean, technically that's what jam tracks are for, but it's always fun to do it with someone else and take turns. And you know, the thing is, there's actually jam, like I went to a church and they had like 10 people in a circle and they were just jamming, and they had a book, all had books like that they'd printed up of songs, so they could do songs and singing, and everybody took solos and all that. I sat in on a couple of them, and it was just they were just having a lot of fun, and so I'm sure that that's kind of not that uncommon of a thing if you know where to look for it. So, first time there, I wouldn't necessarily bring my best instrument, just in case it's just like some Craigslist scam to get a bunch of musicians to bring their best instruments to a place. But yeah, Catherine, that's really awesome. I suggest it if you can. You can even have, I mean, Alex and I can jam, so you can teach one of your kids how to play guitar good enough so you guys can jam together or whatever. That's always a lot of fun too. Okay, so if we were to start on the C note there and go up a whole step, if we were to use the formula, we could come up with this. It might be a little hard because you might not know that this note to this note's a whole step. But this is a half step. Half step is equivalent to 1 fret. A whole step is 2 frets. Here's the F. So I wrote the analysis over. I chose that over the chord tones because I felt like that this was something that was transferable. So the great thing about these scales that I'm going to show you is there are no open strings, so they're completely movable. So when I show you one scale, you've learned 12, and when I show you 7, you've learned 84 scales. So, yeah. So they're all right there, and I'm only showing you 1 octave because I didn't want to get it would have gotten too it would have gotten too involved. Okay, so the best way to finger this is go ahead and start with your 2nd finger on the root, 5th string, 3rd fret. Then use your pinky on the 5th fret of the 5th string, and then go to the 2nd fret with your 1st finger on the 4th string. Then to the 3rd fret of the 4th string with your 2nd finger, and then the 5th fret. Okay, of the 4th string with your pinky. And then we finish it out, last string with the middle string, G string, 2nd fret with your 1st finger, 4th fret with your 3rd finger, and 5th fret with your 4th finger. And then backwards. And I would just use pure alternating picking. Down, up, 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 down. All right? And that would be probably the best way to just kind of practice it and get to know it, and then play it in different locations. And basically, for all of these scales, if you learn the notes on the 5th string, you'll be able to play all 7 of these scales in all 12 different keys and know what key and what scale you're playing. Does that make sense? So this is a C note, this is a D note. So if I start on there, that's a D major scale. If I go to 1 fret up, that's an E flat major scale, or Ionian, E Ionian, F Ionian. That would be A flat. This would be A. And then, if I haven't uploaded this jam, then basically the chord progression there is just C major 7 to F over G. So I gave it a 5 chord. I could have put a B in there if I wanted, but basically I just kind of made F over G the 5 chord. It was a little boring just to hit C major 7 and the whole time. So, hey Jan, what's going on? Luigi, what's going on? Where's Luigi? I'm not seeing Luigi. Oh, there's Luigi. Hey, Luigi. Greetings from Italy. I have a lot of viewers from Italy. I hope I talk slow enough and legibly enough. Okay, so I'm going to take this Ionian scale. I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to put it down below. All right. I don't need to make it too small. I'm going to go do something like this. I'll have to make it smaller than that. But there it is. I just uploaded all of them to the Discord, so you can go to Discord if you want to have bigger ones. Let's see. What do we need next? We need the Dorian scale. So now this is going to be a C Dorian scale. All right. Like so. Boom. Like that. All right. Now this is the only one of the 7 scales that we're actually going to have to move our hand. We're going to have to shift our hand. All the other scales are over 4 frets, either from the 2nd fret to the 5th fret or from the 3rd fret to the 6th fret. This one actually uses the 2nd fret and it uses the 6th fret. So you're going to kind of have to either, you'll have to move. And it's up to you how you transition between those, when you do that shift. Oh, I did it. Sorry, I was in G. I was playing the right shape, but I was playing it on the wrong string set. There we go. Okay, sorry for the confusion. All right, so you're going to start with your first finger on C. That's the root. And again, if you look at this, it says root 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and root. And what that is if you look at the Dorian, it's the same numbers and, with the root and the numbers, basically the same analysis. It's what you did to the major scale. So we took the 3 that was here and we flatted it and got here. We took the 7th that was here and we flatted it and got the flat 7. And that's what makes a Dorian scale. So you can take any major scale, if you know how to play an E major scale, and you flat the 3rd note, and you flat the 7th note, you created it in an E Dorian. So this is really nice over kind of a, like I said, it would go like over, like I'm going to change this bass line here so that it goes to a G chord. Actually, I'm going to change the chord. Oh, right, so we're in C minor. So it's going to go to F. And then what's this? C, E flat. So just go to, yeah, E flat's fine. Bring that down to F. And then, yeah, is that right? Oh, wait, what do I have? Oh, that's right, I have the door, yes, that's right. So, there we go. So basically that's a C minor 7 to F7. That's a great C Dorian progression. I'm trying to really limit it. Just to this scale shape. So the scale I'm playing is C Dorian. First finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. I go to the 3rd finger on the 5th fret. Then G, then pinky on the 6th fret. Okay, there's our C, D, E flat. And then we're going to do F and then G. Okay. And then we're going to go down a fret. So F, G is at the 3rd fret and the 5th fret of the 4th string. And on the 3rd string, we're going to go down a fret to to C. I'm sorry, to the first finger it's going to be an A, and then a B flat and a C. And again, whatever note that is, that's going to be that Dorian scale. So if you want C sharp Dorian, you would hit the A note on the D string. 7th fret, you mean 2nd fret. Sorry. Oh, I see. Up there? Yeah, maybe. You could do that. It just depends. Either way is fine. You could also play the E flat down there. There's more than one way to play all of these scales, which is interesting because on piano, that's not the case. Okay, I got to check something real quick. I'll be right back. Here, I'll put the jam track on. Practice your C Dorian scale. Right back. All right, so, okay. Yeah, so, and with all of these cases, like the C major, I can play like this too. So there's different ways to finger them, but whatever way makes you happy. I don't mind this shift. It's pretty common in guitar to have to do that. Some people don't have that kind of reach to be able to grab that, but and I see some people can, when I do like that stretch there, the like a 2 whole steps, I usually use my 2nd finger on the middle note. Some people use the 3rd finger. If you use your 3rd finger in that middle note, then there's just a stretch, but there's no shift. But if you use your 2nd finger, then technically that's another shift. So anyway. Okay, so that's the Dorian, and like I said, it's a minor would be, we're going to learn a minor would be a little bit darker, a little sadder. The Dorian is a little bit on the little happier. We talked about this a long time ago with the blues, learning different blues scales. B.B. King would use what I would call a Dorian pentatonic, and so most people, like when they play like over A7 in the blues, they use a minor pentatonic. Right? It's pretty common for rock from the 50s to today. But B.B. King would do this thing where he would use, instead of a dominant 7 or flat 7, dominant 7th, he would use the 6th. So it'd be like. So it's a little bit happier blues. It's like not so sad blues. Something about it just. And somewhere back in the live stream, there's we did some lessons on the blues, and I'm pretty sure that was in there. So, all right, let me make this smaller. We're going to go to move to the next one. And I've got a session this afternoon that I have to prep for. So. All right, so there's everything. You can see everything there. You don't need to see the 7th or 6th fret. All right. The next one is this one. Let's see, what is it? The Phrygian. C Phrygian is the next one on that list there. Hey, Common, what's going on? Wiki feet. Yeah, I'm barefoot. Well, that's because my Keens that I bought for Scotland that I never needed because it never rained the whole time we were in Scotland. I wore them to walk to Starbucks today, and they and I stupidly crossed the street in the middle and didn't go to the intersection. You know, I just wasn't thinking. Coming back, I did it the right way, but I stepped in the water and I couldn't tell how deep it was, and it went over my shoes. And basically, the Keens are waterproof in and out, so I filled my boots with. They're boots, and they're high boots, but they got filled with water. So all the way to Starbucks and back, I was sloshing around in about that much water. You might as well have walked barefoot. So as soon as I got home, I took off my shoes, and I just never put them back on. I usually wear shoes. It's kind of cold in here, but my toes are kind of tingly right now, but that's okay. If you're into feet, more power to you. My feet, I don't see it, but anyway, that's the story. Yeah, BB basically did solos. That's right. Yeah, he was kind of a. Okay, Rolling Stones. She's a Rainbow. Yeah, there's probably a lot of riffs that I didn't even think about coming up with known riffs in these different modes, but you could probably wiki it and find out. Oh, this song's in Phrygian mode. You know, this song's out there in Phrygian mode, and so this one is. You'll notice we have a lot of flats. We have, you know, from the major one, we had no changes at all. It was just root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root. When we went to the Dorian, we flatted the third and we flatted the seventh. But with the Phrygian, we're going to flat the second, and this is in comparison to the major scale. We're going to flat the second, the third, and the sixth, and the seventh. So it's going to sound. To me, it sounds a little exotic because of that. Starts with that half step. So somehow. I mean, as far as the progression goes, I could try to change it so it just goes on the jam track here that I've got. I could go from like, because I've got a weird chord in there right now, like a C with a D flat in it, just to give it some that Phrygian sound. And this was actually easy to play. It's kind of like the major scales. It kind of lays in the hand really nice. First finger on the third fret of the fifth string, then second finger on the fourth fret. There's no shift on this one. It's the only one without a shift that I'm showing you. And then pinky on the sixth fret of the fifth string. And then we're going to go to the fourth string, third fret with our first finger. And then to the fifth fret, sorry, with our third finger, and then pinky there on the sixth fret, and then on the third string we're going to go first finger on the third fret and third finger. There's our C note. So again, we start and stop on C's, and that might be the progression that to me sounds Phrygian. If I go to the D major 7, it almost sounds like a D major 7 or a D Lydian progression. So I'm going to make the progression be like just like a pure C minor. See if I get that. There's C. Yeah. And then G. Okay. And then I'm going to move it to, I'm going to keep the C on the bottom. I'm going to go to D flat here. This one, the E flat, I'm going to take to F, right? And I'm going to take the A flat, or the G to the A flat, and I don't need that note, so I can just go. So I'm basically playing, the chord there I'm playing is like a D flat major triad. I'm just barring, I'm using my pinky to bar, but I'm barring at the 6th fret, and I'm barring the 4th string, the 3rd string, and the 2nd string. And I'm keeping that C in the bass. It's a cool chord. And that would sound Locrian, but I have the G natural in there. So when I go to the C minor chord, it's just C, G, C, E flat, G technically on top if you want it. You could put that B flat on top if you wanted to. That's kind of pretty. You could also think of it as C minor 7 and then moving down like that. Anyway, don't really need to know what, but here's the scale. Charlie's Angels. Okay, so that gives you a very Phrygian, I think that sounds very Phrygian to me. Yeah. So it's kind of based on that, almost that Joe Satriani mode study where he would take the 4 and 5 in the relative key and play it over the new root. And I don't want to go there. We talked about that before. I have jam tracks like that. When my modal jam tracks that I have uploaded that you can check out. A lot of people go, "Oh, that's not Locrian," you know. But like it was E, and the relative is F. So I was doing like I was going B flat to C with E in the bass to create E Locrian, and I had a lot of people say that's not Locrian. That's like C. What would they would call it, like C mixolydian or something like that. It's like because my bass note was too low, and they were listening on laptops or headphones or on phones or whatever, so they couldn't hear the bass note. And that was my bad. I should have knocked the bass up an octave, or put the bass in the chord as well. So we should have been. But that was Joe Satriani's way of kind of creating 7 different mode jam tracks, and I just played them and uploaded them. So let's see. Okay, Gary, I did not know that. Did you look that up, or did you know that? Because there can't be that many. Phrygian songs. I think in metal there would be. I think Phrygian's very, very kind of usable. In E it would be like low E, and then F. Okay, 1st fret, 3rd fret, open A, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, open D, and then 3rd fret. 2nd fret. And so, and what I always tell you, learn the scales a lot of different ways, right? So like if you learn like that E Phrygian scale, there, and that scale happens to be relative to the key of C major. But if you learn it also here, on the A string, for example, that way when you want to kind of write some kind of Phrygian heavy metal thing. Thanks, Bruce. I knew you would do that. You would go find the lesson where I talked about the blues scales, playing the blues. Were you watching back then, Bruce? I think you go almost all the way back to the beginning, if not the beginning. So yeah, you can see that's like very metal sounding. The Phrygian mode really, to me, sounds very very metal, but you can also use it in a very classical. Can also be used for scoring or things like that. It definitely creates a different mood, and that's what's interesting about every one of these modes. You could say there's not 7 modes, there's 7 moods, because every one of them has a different emotional trigger. Okay, I'm going to make this one smaller. All right, and you can see that again, that one had like a lot more altered notes from the original major, and I'm going to have to make it a lot smaller so it all fits. There it is. Okay. Here we go. All right. 4 more to go. We're getting there. All right. So the next one is going to be the Lydian, and the F Lydian is C Lydian is very very similar to the C major. Like you only have to change one note. So just a reminder, the C major was this, right? Root, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root. Fret wise, that would be 3rd, 5, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. Oh, wow, you go way back. Okay, so the only thing we're going to do is we're going to take that 4th note and we're going to sharp it. It's going to sharp 4. In this case, it's an F sharp, because normally it would be in C. The 4 would be an F, so we're just going to raise that up. So it's C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. And remember, we created those when we used the formulas over here to create the parallel modes. So these what I'm showing you is all these parallel modes on the fretboard. Okay. So maybe do something like C major 7. No, next one is, I could just do a pure C major 7. Yeah. Yeah. And then do something like that. you know, and that's kind of Lydian sounding. I mean, you know, I think of Lydian. It's so Lydian right there, the Stairway to Heaven bit. Arctic Monkeys, the Modes of the Moody Blues. I don't know. Do I want to know? Let me look up the tab on that. I can't play it because then I won't be able to monetize this video. So let me see. Arctic Monkeys tab. Do you want to know? Do I want to know? Sorry. We'll see if I can. I don't remember this song, so it's just oh. I mean, I think it's pure G minor. If you were to add up the notes, you have F, G, B flat, you have a D in there, you have C, you have an E flat, right? He gets the D. So if you were to add that up, it would be, it's one note shy of G minor. And it definitely has a very, very strong G. I think the bass is playing a G note. And so what makes it sound interesting, let's see. Is that E flat note, okay? It's that. Because normally when you're playing in G minor, you might hit that note, but you wouldn't sit on it. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, before I hit that E flat, I would definitely use that A natural. Well, they don't use the A natural in there. So we're about to get to we're going to get to Aeolian. We're 2 away from that, and that would be technically the scale, except it would be G Aeolian or G minor, just kind of a natural pure minor kind of thing. I don't know if that helps, but basically that's kind of the thing that makes it sound exotic is them sitting on that E flat. But I think the bass is going to E flat at that point, so then technically it's just the root of the chord. So, I think it's going to E flat major to C minor to G minor technically. They're probably just playing bass power chords, roots and fifths. But hey, David T, what's going on? Oh, nice. You just subscribed to this channel this morning. Minneapolis. I have a good friend that lives in Minneapolis. I've been to Minneapolis. I've been there just the one time, back in like 99, 98, something like that. Okay, so let's go over this Lydian. Let's play this together. Second finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. And again, we're just doing 1 octave in the same position. All of them are C scales. We did C major, we did C Dorian, we did C Phrygian, now we're doing C Lydian. We're doing kind of an order. And so we have here, and then pinky on the 5th fret of the 5th string, and then first finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And then here's where it's different from the major scale. Instead of going to the 3rd fret, we're going to go to the 4th fret. So that's where it creates that kind of, I always call it kind of the Hallmark movie, you know, score, underscore kind of thing. If I was scoring Hallmark movies, I would probably live in the Lydian scale. So much so that the major scale would sound weird to me. Okay, so, and then we use our pinky to grab that 5th fret of the 4th string, and that's the G. And then we go to the next string on the G string here. We're going to go to the second fret, and then the fourth fret with our third finger, and then we're going to finish off with the fifth fret with our pinky. And again, if it was major, but it's Lydian, so it's that one note raised. The fourth note of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, is raised up a half step. And David T, we have a Discord at the top there. You can see the Discord invite link if you have a Discord account. Generally, they like you to use your username that you're using on YouTube to go ahead and use it for. I think you can. Right, Dennis knows you can if you can change your username for different forums or different groups that you belong to on Discord. I don't know if that's true or not. I just use T. Strahle, I think, everywhere I go. So, F. Scott Fitzgerald. I always think of him as being a Californian, but that's because of the Hearst family, all of that. But yeah, so it's a very kind of a cool scale. Now, if we take those two notes here that are on the fourth fret and we move them both down to the third fret, we get, and there's maybe some observation you can make from that, but that's how you play the Mixolydian. I'm not sure what you can take away from that, but if you put the 4 back where it belongs and flat the 7, so the Mixolydian is just a major scale with a flatted 7th. Let me go grab it here. Hold on. Gotta find the folder. Mixo. There we go. All right. Now, hopefully you're not watching me on a phone or something where everything's like really, really tiny. Maybe on a laptop or on a computer, like a standalone computer. But this is the Mixolydian, and you can see we have the root, the second. See, it's almost all identical. When you play the first 6 notes of a Mixolydian scale, you think you're playing a major scale. It doesn't sound like a Mixolydian scale until you get to that flat 7. And that's a great scale to do, in this case, over the key of C7. I always recommend, if you're going to play the blues and you're just like using basically A minor pentatonic over A7. Well, the blues has 3 7th chords. A7, or in the key of A, would have like A7, D7, and E7. And I would suggest learning the Mixolydian, those 3 Mixolydian scales, particularly in each position, so you can go back and forth from A Mixolydian to D Mixolydian, back to A, to E, back to A. And the Mixolydian scales give you kind of almost more of a jazzy sound over those dominant 7th chords if you're playing the blues. So you can still do the pentatonics, but those Mixolydian scale just gives it a little bit more of a kind of an R&B, soul, and jazzy vibe. And it gives you another weapon, because you can get kind of boring if you're just playing one scale over all the chords. So, was F. Scott Fitzgerald a guitar player? Why are we talking about F. Scott Fitzgerald? I'm just messing with you, Gary. Oh, let's see. What was the question that Joseph asked about? Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's okay. So just a side note. This is not part of our lesson. This is something that there won't be a quiz on. But if you went half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, just alternate, that would be what's called a diminished scale. You could also play it whole step, half step, whole step. You could start with a whole step instead. But yeah, and it's an 8-note scale. Uh, uh, that's one way to play. You could also see. Wait. Yeah. I don't really ever play it that way. I always start with a half step. And a chromatic scale, if you just do nothing but half steps, that would be a chromatic scale. It would sound like this. Dang it. So that would just be all half steps. And all whole steps would be what's called a whole tone scale. And you've heard that one before. Usually going into a dream sequence. I remember way back when it's kind of like it starts out like a Lydian scale, because a Lydian scale starts out with 3 whole steps, and then there it goes just haywire from there. But anyway, it's just kind of a fun thing. If you were in B, I guess. Very augmented sounding also, because that's a scale you could use over like a raised 5. Like if you're doing like an A7 sharp 5, you can. Totally. Practice on your own time, Tom. All right, so we've got 5 of the 7. So the Mixolydian. Oh, did we actually figure it out? So let's go. Second finger on the 3rd fret, 5th string, then pinky on the 5th fret of the 5th string, and then 4th string we're going to go 1st finger on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the 3rd fret, and pinky on the 5th fret. And then we're going to do that same pattern on the 3rd string, and that's going to be 2nd fret with the 1st finger, 3rd fret with the 2nd finger, and pinky on the 5th fret. That feels really nice on the hands. It's actually a fairly easy scale to get under your fingers. All right, so I'm going to drag that. I did an interview. I'll let you know when it drops. I'll probably put I did an interview with this French guy who has a website called the Guitar Channel. And it's subscription only, but that's all he does. I should do that. It's like 19 euros a month, but he does like 20 to 25 videos a month. I'm like, how often do you have to create content to justify 20 bucks a month? And he said, yeah, I do about 20 to 25. And he filmed in 2 hours. He got what was three videos out of our 2 hours of filming. So, that will, I don't know when that's going to drop, and it won't be public, but there will be like a 3-minute teaser on YouTube. He'll probably tag me on it or something like that. You might find it. I'll put it up. He'll send me links. I'll put it up on the Discord. All right, so Mixolydian, Lydian. Okay, what's left? Oh, just the Aeolian and then the Locrian. Okay, so the A minor, this one also plays really easy. I feel like this one really lays well in the hands. And the other name for this scale would be minor. Again, you see the root 2 and then a flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and root. So there's 3 changes to the major scale to create the minor scale. We're flatting the 3rd, we're flatting the 6th, and we're flatting the 7th. So here's the major scale. Here's the minor scale. So a lot changes. There's a lot of different notes in there. So the E becomes an E flat, the A becomes an A flat, and the B becomes a B flat. All right, so now what I probably just, that would just be like a pure A minor, C minor chord. I could go to like an F minor chord there. Let's see, where's... oh yeah. Is that right? Yeah, F minor 7, that works. And again, I said this last week that those half steps are where the kind of some of the interesting moments happen, especially if you let them ring out against each other. Oops, trying to stay in our designated pattern. Sorry about that. So I don't have there's no D in there. So I could go to, instead of F minor, I could go to G minor 7. But now we don't have an A flat. You could go either way on it. You could, in other words, a decent chord progression to imply a C minor, to support a C minor scale would be C minor 7 maybe to F minor 7, or C minor 7 to G minor 7. You could even go just F minor 7 to G minor 7, and then maybe put that over C. That would be very, very C minor sounding. In the air tonight is what? It's well known on YouTube that Tom has the best mods, yes. Server asked before, is there, if I was playing C over C, G, A minor, F, would I play one scale or change the scale for each chord? Totally up to you. A lot of it depends on how fast the change happens. You could play C over all of that. You could technically play G mixolydian over all that. You could play F lydian over all that. You could play A minor over all of those. So again, that's one of the things that you figure out that gives you your sound. What would I do over that? Again, it depends on how fast. If it's like, I might just, play C. And you can always add that flat, E flat in there for the blues, if it's that kind of song. If it's going that fast, I might think of it as kind of a ragtimey. You know, might even go to like a C mixolydian. But if it were really, you know, and that's basically in that kind of like Let It Be by the Beatles, right? If you're going that slow, yeah, I probably wouldn't think C major over the G, but I might. I mean, I'd be aware of the notes in the C major. I'm thinking more, because you don't want to sit on a C note over this G chord. You get this, you know, it might sound a little, I mean, that's pretty, but it might not be the sound you want. You may want to actually hear that B note emphasized. So I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm trying to really kind of highlight the most important notes of each one of those chords so you can kind of hear the chords even though I'm playing lines. So see if you can hear the chord change, your progression that you just named, while I play in the key of C major. You hear the chords changing during that soloing. That's not a bad exercise actually, to go ahead and solo without anything going on and see if you can really imply the harmony with your solo. Because I could have sat there and just gone. You know, I could just play like C pentatonic, C major pentatonic, and it would kind of work over everything. The G chord's a little bit of a stickler, but yeah, so that's kind of the idea. Hey, Leo, what's going on? So I don't know if that helps. We got someone who's new, from India, new subscriber from Mizoram. I'm going to look it up right now. Mizoram, India. I always like to know where people are from. I know where Minneapolis is. Mizoram, India. I'm totally saying it wrong. Oh, it looks mountainous. Okay, so you're, I pull out here, are you on, okay, so you're on the Bay of, above the Bay of Bengal, and kind of by Myanmar. Oh, you border Myanmar, right? Burma, the old Burma. Myanmar, I don't know. Interesting. I bet it's a beautiful place. Wow. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Oh, I see. Yeah, I didn't realize India had that little chunk over there. So you're kind of like you're kind of like on the Alaska of India. Not weather-wise, but that's cool. Very nice. All right. Well, welcome. All right, so that's the minor scale. I don't know if we've gone over it, but let's do it just in case we have. Oh, I'm gonna get rid of this because it's too bright. See that light coming off of that Wikipedia page? Go back to this. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that crazy how one page can make everything bright? Like, whoa. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, common people. I really do. It means a lot. So put your first finger on the C note. Okay, there's your root. third finger on the 5th fret, and there's the 2 or the D. E flat, there's a kind of, that's what makes it a minor scale right there, that E flat. Pinky, 6th fret. First finger on the next string down, 4th string at the 3rd fret. And then 5th fret, we have our 3rd finger, and that's our G note. And then we have an A flat with our pinky. Got a little chunk there that's fun to play. These little chunks are really good for practicing your speed. And this is a good one because it's utilizing your pinky and that third finger, 4th finger kind of workout. Again, for compositionally, you know, for composing and from a compositional standpoint, I really just love thinking that things in the modes. All right, so and then to finish it off, you just go 3rd fret on the G string, and then 5th fret on the G string with the 1st finger and the 3rd finger. And that's the minor scale. And what did I settle on? Was it the F? Yeah, so I used the F. All right, so I don't know if what's his name got his question answered. Was that who asked that question? Because I've asked this before. Where was that? Oh, yeah, Common. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I would totally just sit there and maybe with a metronome so that you're not going like sitting on C chord for too long. You just kind of go 4 slow beats each or something. Rick Beato just kind of an analysis of the Stairway to Heaven solo and how he actually pointed out the fact that it's kind of unusual to play over the chords and not over the chord progression. On Stairway to Heaven, it's just... It's basically a C jam, but in the key of A minor, kind of playing an A minor jam. It's the 4, 5, and 6 in the key of C. But it sits on the F. So most guitar players would just be like... just be playing A minor pentatonic. But what Jimmy Page does multiple times, you know, he ends on an F note or he plays an F note when he gets to the F chord. I love that open string. So he doesn't do it every time, but he does hit that F a lot. You have to go out of the scale to find it. It's in the key of C, but it's not in the key of A minor pentatonic. So you're in good company if you're kind of making slight adjustments to your scale. That's one of the things that, there was a jam thing that came with a Guitar Player magazine that was like G7 to C7 to E flat 9 to D 7 sharp 5. And it had a different scale for each one of those. Maybe it was G minor. Yeah, it was G minor to C7, C9 to E flat 9 to D7 sharp 5. And the lesson was basically you just over G minor you play a G minor pentatonic, and then over the C9 you play a G Dorian pentatonic. So you just change one note. Actually, the lesson might have been cool too if every time it went back to the one chord. So it went. So you could kind of get centered and go back to the G minor pentatonic, and then went to E flat 9 where you were like, well, you can't play E flat 9 in G minor. Yeah, all you do is you take the fifth note and flat it. Change one note in the G minor pentatonic, and it works over this chord. And then the same thing's kind of true with the sharp 9 chord. I think they did like a harmonic minor pentatonic or something like that. Anyway, that was the lesson. It was really pretty cool. Let's see. All right, so we're down. We just have one more left, and that's the Locrian. Let's get to the Locrian, and then I'll sign off because I've got, like I said, I've got sessions today. So I scheduled my session to accommodate our live stream. I said I can't do Monday morning, and they said that's fine. How about Monday? Okay, so they'll be here in a few minutes. Let's see. Last one was Locrian, right? Yep. So all I've done is I've fingered in the same spot the scales that we created using the formulas again. So let me make this small for a second here. Okay, put it down here for a second. Okay, so over here we again just to remind you, we created the parallel scale. I mean the relative scales. They're all relative. They have the same DNA. They have this exact same notes, and it was just C to C, D to D, E to E, F to F. On the piano, it's super duper easy to see. Not so easy on the guitar, but if you can play a C scale, and I apparently can, then if you just start on D and play D to D and then E and F to F, you can create them that way too. But on piano, it's super easy. And then what we did was we went back and we kind of reversed engineered it. Okay, what's the formula for a C major scale or a C Ionian scale? Well, it's a whole step, then E to F is a half step, so it's half step. F to G is a whole step, G to A is a whole step, A to B is a whole step, so it's a whole step, whole step, whole step, and then B to C is a half step. Don't worry, I'm going fast here, just a quick recap for context. All right, so that's how we came up with these mode formulas right here. Okay, and the same, everything stayed the same: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian, and they're all lined up there. Same down here. I just didn't write out Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian. I just wrote I, D, P, L, M, A, and Lo for Locrian. Okay, so those are all still the same scales. There's a C Ionian, there's a C Dorian, there's a C Phrygian, there's a C Lydian, there's a C Mixolydian, there's a C Aeolian, and lastly a C Locrian, which is the one we haven't learned yet. And then what we did was we analyzed what did we do to the major scale to get these. And so we look at all those and we look at those letters there, and it's C. All of them have a C in them, but a couple of them have D flats in them. A couple of them, like 3 of them have E flats in them. They're all Fs except for one has an F sharp. They're all Gs except one has a G flat. So you kind of go through it, and you ended up with this mode analysis here in the bottom corner. But we use the parallel mode here to create these, or I did. And so Locrian scale is a half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, like that. And it's, like I said, I learned it in college. It was called theoretical. In other words, it's kind of a filler. It's the gap. It's like the missing link. And they didn't want to just teach us the six main modes. They wanted to make sure we had a complete knowledge, even if we would never use this mode. Well, to be honest, this mode actually is quite interesting. It's particularly nice for like. I can hear all sorts of stuff over Locrian. It's just kind of fun to play, and it's an interesting time and very exotic and very dark and kind of metal sounding. You could totally do metal work, metal songs, write metal songs with Locrian. You could do an exercise where you try to write, like I would transpose all these to open E or to E so that you would have the low E, and then just learn all the scales on the E string. Try to write a little riff in the key of E using every one of these modes. And you would do, say you did Phrygian, it would be, and you get a little distortion there, and it sounds like you're in Sweden. Am I right? All right, so you know what? Japan metal is really big in Japan too. So it's not just a Scandinavian thing. The Japanese really kind of dig that whole metal thing. They like virtuosity. They love jazz. They love classical. They love anything that's kind of showy. I think the Japanese really have an appreciation for. So, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but anyway, yeah, Lena. It's really fun to just kind of come up with these little riffs based on the scales, and really in a lot of ways, what you're doing is at the same time, and I'm always big on this, it's like teach yourself. You're your best teacher. And in doing so, you're going to get so familiar with the modes that you'll start to recognize them when you hear them. And, it's not very common in pop to have a mode. Latin pop often is minor, but it's also harmonic minor. So, like... So it's A minor, but it's got an E7 chord in it, so that's you have to kind of accommodate for that and play a G sharp in that key. So it'd be like, but that's actually not the key that they're playing in, because probably they may have a G chord in there or a C chord in there. So you really just have to accommodate the 5 chord, the E7 chord in a Latin pop context. I don't think when I'm soloing over Latin pop that I'm like. Because the song could be. For the most part, I'm thinking A minor. And then here I'm going to kind of A harmonic minor at that point. I might not play a G note, but I would play a G note over the C chord. When it gets to there, I might do whatever, I don't know. So you just kind of jam, in that context, you might jam an A minor or C for most of the song, but then anytime it goes to that E7 chord, you just make one change. One change. I get my raised eyebrow game face on when I'm soloing. So anyway, that's what's going on. Get lucky. Yeah, Richard. Let's see. It does sound Aerosmith-ish. Yeah, because what was it? Man, was it? Is that right? Oh no, was it in D minor? I can't. Is it? Oh, I'm in the wrong. Shoot, what key is that in originally? G minor, is it? Dang it, I can't remember. Anyway, I taught it back in the day. Oh, that's it. F minor. It's a great lick. Probably going to get demonetized now. Okay, so the Locrian scale is 3rd fret, 4th fret, 6th fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 6th fret. It's actually lays there really nice. And then you just finish out for the 3rd fret and 5th fret. And again, all of these are up at the Discord individually, just like I have them here. So you can go to the Discord and download every one of them and have a blast. I don't have a jam track for these. I could eventually bounce this jam track, like loop it, where it's just constantly going to the next one, to the next one. You got to keep track. Because right now, I've been making changes to it. So like now it's just a mess. That's what it sounds like now. Let's see. We got. And then it goes to Dorian. And Phrygian. And then Lydian. And Mixolydian. And then A minor, or C minor. And then Locrian. Back to my C major. Dorian. Phrygian. Mixolydian or Lydian. And Mixolydian. Yeah, anyway, it's a quick thinking kind of thing where you just kind of go, oh yeah, that shape, oh that shape. You just kind of have to memorize them. Phrygian major, yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably. That looks right. So Phrygian major, Phrygian major would probably just be a Phrygian major. Phrygian major, yeah, would probably just be. Like that, so it would be 1 flat 2 3 4 5 flat 6 flat 7. Oh, thank you, Holly. I appreciate that. So you're going to drag them all into one PDF. That is. Let's see. Yeah, that's the 5th mode of F harmonic minor. That's probably what I would think of it. But definitely over the 5 in the blues progression. So blues, yeah. It sounds so exotic to me. Probably because of the way I'm using it. In the context of a blues, I might approach it a completely different way. However, that so if you were to play F harmonic minor and then build modes on that, because there's 7 modes in a harmonic minor, you know, same thing, just like we have seven modes of the based off of the major. We could do the same thing with any of them. If we make some alteration to them, we could create 7 brand new modes, and they would all have their own harmonies and all that stuff. I haven't gotten that deep into it, but the 5th mode of harmonic minor I use a lot for like on oud. That's my favorite scale to play on oud. Be more in D. It just sounds so Middle Eastern to me. I know that's probably stereotypical. I remember Michiko at church. She's from Japan, and my keyboard player at our church. And I went, Michiko, when we when we imitate Japanese music, is that like just kind of like a stereotypical meme, and it's not at all like Japanese music? And she goes, oh no, that's exactly Japanese music. And she said, that's why I came to America. I wanted to play funk. She ended up marrying a funk bass player and playing with Sly and the Family Stone for years and everything. So yeah, they toured with Billy Preston. They toured with Sly and the Family Stone. They toured with Rose Stone. I mean, Pee Wee Michiko have done a lot of funk. Their daughter did a record with Prince. So yeah, they're all about the funk. And Michiko was like, yeah, I thought I was kind of like insulting her culture or something. She goes, no. It's a lot like what it is. I'm like, oh, that's funny. It's just one of those things where, when you want to sound like the Orient, especially back in the day when you maybe didn't know any songs from China or Japan or Korea or wherever, you just go to the basic common denominator or whatever they used in cartoons at the time. So yeah, don't forget to click that like button, I suppose. Yeah, might as well, right? Let's see, what was our peak? Well, yeah, we're dropped down a little bit. We got to 37. That's not bad. We got to 37 a couple times. We sat at 36 for a while. But right now we're at 29. We got 27 likes. That's pretty good. Oh, I got chat revenue. Wait a minute. How much did... Oh, 20. Okay. Was there another one up there? I didn't even notice. I guess that's right. You're on the pound. I was thinking euro. No, common people's on the pound. So that's like $25, dude. Thank you. I appreciate it. Although when I was teaching private lessons, it was $100 an hour. So you guys are getting like $200 of lessons for free every Monday. I know you know it. Yeah, turning Japanese by the Visit the Vapors. Yeah, I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. Let's see. Yeah, I appreciate you doing that. So yeah, so Richard, I think you would include in there the flat sixth for that Phrygian major. I think you probably meant that, but yeah, totally legitimate scale. But I would probably, yeah, that I would use more of it in exotic context. Let's see. I hope everybody's staying dry wherever you are. If you're on the West Coast, that's the telly that Alex is waiting for. So yeah, I may give it to him before I die so I can see the joy on his face. I don't need. I've got a couple guitars that are sentimental, that have sentimental value to them, but and he's probably got 4 or 5 of my guitars at his house right now. So yeah, it doesn't really. For the most part, I'm like, oh yeah, oh wait, do you have my Ricky 12-string or something? There's something he may have of mine that I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I need that. Sorry. So hopefully I realize it before I have to record Kung Fu Fighting. Yeah, everyone was Kung Fu fighting. That's probably where I da 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 fast as lightning. Yeah, it was just kind of what everybody thought of. I mean, it probably goes back to, I don't know if that's in You Only Live Twice, but the James Bond where he becomes Asian. Remember where he gets the eye surgery and the makeup and it's just funny. It's like, when you watch it now, it's like, you can't judge people back then. You can't go, oh, okay, we need to cancel Sean Connery. It's like, no, back then that wasn't really a thing. It was actually a respect. You were like, it was actually very respectful. It made the Japanese culture seem very beautiful and peaceful and disciplined, and it was all good stuff. It wasn't anything negative about necessarily. I mean, Odd Job. I don't even know what Odd Job was. He looked, and again, the villains are just villains. Villains never represent the entirety of the human race based on the look of the villain, or I'd be in trouble because there's so many like, oh bad, I'm kind of German, French, Bohemian, Austrian maybe, so yeah, there are a lot of bad guys that look like me. So I'm glad nobody judges me for that. So David Carradine play. Oh, I don't know that one. Oh, Sadie, that's good. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, I mean, I think if you go to Craigslist and enter jam sessions or jam groups or whatever, you could even enter jam sessions beginner, that kind of thing. And if there's not one, you can, maybe offer to host one. You got to be careful. You want to be careful who you let in your house. That's why it's always good to kind of do it at another location. You might maybe see if a local community center or a church will let you use a room to host kind of a little jam thing. Assuming they have people there at the time. That way, it's not a big deal. It can be a really nice little thing that starts to develop and can spin off into other things, and bands can get created out of it. I don't know. So it could become a big headache, But I'm a big proponent of it. If it doesn't exist, make it exist. If there's something that you want to do that isn't being done, then do it. Do it for yourself. It was kind of like when I was just talking to a young guy the other day, a friend of my son's, and it was like the reason I got into jazz, like chord melodies back in the day, when I was like 14 or 15. For one thing, my teacher liked showing them to me, but the other thing was because I couldn't find any musicians to jam with, to play in a band with, so I thought, okay, I'll just be my own band. I'll be a solo act. I don't need anybody. And then I got in a band and I stopped doing that stuff. It's like, there'd be more girls playing in a band than you do playing solo jazz by yourself in your bedroom. So let's see. Charlie B, what's going on? Oh, we're in the rain and homelessness crisis mode now. Moved out of my residence of 10 years. What? You're not homeless, though. You mean you're just between homes. Or are you homeless? That would be bad. The rain is not good to be, it's not good to be homeless in the rain. That's for sure. So let's see. Okay, well, like I said, I need to take off. You guys can keep chatting. I'll leave this up for a minute. You guys can keep doing your thing. But God bless you all. Thank you so much for watching. Oh yeah, the old building of ours did the same thing. They technically can't kick anybody out, and there's rent control now in Pasadena, so they're really trying to make it inconvenient for everybody, and try to get them to leave, but they don't really understand the tenacity of people that have cheap rent. So, but yeah, it's hard. I personally think that I've been seeing so much building going on in LA. What typically happens is the developers get greedy when the rents go up and they overbuild, and then the rents crash. So just depending on the neighborhood, you might be able to find a place where the rents are kind of on the downward side because they've overbuilt. So hey, thanks, Brad. No worries. I'll see you later. Speaking of jam sessions, I'll jam with Brad every now and then. But yeah, you guys take care. God bless you. Have fun. Stay dry if you're in the area in California. I hope, Brad, you don't have any mudslides near you. I know that one road. I never take it. I always go around the back way. I don't know if you ever take that other road. It has like, I mean, I started to go down that road because that's what GPS told me to do, and I realized I can't. My car won't make it. So, uh, yeah, you're welcome. Free $200 lesson, exactly. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you all later. God bless.